Hello, welcome to this YouTube video. Today, we're gonna figure out this question. Is TDC related to Do Not Hug Me, I'm Scared, or is it clickbait? Because recently, the Digital Circus is being compared to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Now, let's start. Before we start, we need to know the backstory of both shows. First up, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which is Demis in abbreviation. It's a show about these three guys. There's this guy named Yellow Guy, a duck who's named Duck, and a guy who's named Red Guy. These three guys go to many adventures in their house. For example, and they're also these teachers who teach them amazing lessons. For example, about time, love, or the internet or computer. In the TV show, that was the web series. They get to learn about jobs, friends, and family. But the problem is that these teachers teach messed up lessons. And that's what makes Don't Hug Me Scared, Don't Hug Me I'm Scared, because they're twisted lessons. It's kind of like to explain the whole summary of Don't Hug Me Scared, it's basically a twisted Sesame Street. For Digital Circus, there are these humans, 6 of them, which include Gangle, Zubul, Kinger, Ragatha, Jax, and new member Pomni, that go adventures from this guy, the Ringmaster, who is an AI called Aang. And for example, there are many adventures like the Candy Town, and also the Spudsy's restaurant, which is kind of like a McDonald's. Just put the name for it. But all these adventures are kind of twisted and affect the minds of the circuses. But also at the same time, the adventures make them more sane so they can live. The first thing that makes them similar is that they are both psychological horror. Psychological horror basically is horror that happens in the brain. And technically, Digital Circus is basically the whole theme. For Don't Hug Me Scared, it's also the theme. It doesn't make sense, but in reality, it is the genre for one of the themes for Don't Hug Me, I Am Scared. Now that we know all the lore, let's see what themes make them both similar, because that's important. The first thing that make Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared and TC similar in theme is that they're both psychological horror. Psychological horror is a type of horror that has to do with something with mental illness. It's very explanatory for Digital Circus, for Don't Hug Me Scared is a bit more complex. In Don't Hug Me Scared, they do show signs of psychological horror, but mostly the genre is just surreal horror. But they're basically the same. The second thing that makes Don't Hug Me Scared and Digital Circus related is that they both have childlike themes. So a childlike theme basically means that it's a thing that has childish themes. You know, like lullaby stuff and, kid stuff. For Don't Hug Me Scared, it has a Sesame Street interpretation, and as you know, for Digital Circus, it has a circus, which just seemed kid-friendly, but over time it's just a dark show. The next one is that they both have this thing of being trapped in a system. So basically, Don't Hug Me and Scared and Digital Circus both have the same things of being trapped in the system. For Digital Circus, they're all trapped, the 6 people are trapped in the Amazing Needle Circus. For Do Not Hug Me, I Am Scared, they are trapped in this house. The system, I don't know who was it created by, and these adventures, which basically is them trapped into a cycle of craziness and stuff. Next up are the characters. Let's see how the characters are similar to Digital Circus and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Since there are too many characters, I want to narrow down to the main characters. Let's start off with Digital Circus. First up, there's Pomni. Pomni is anxious, of course, in the beginning, but over time she becomes helpful and mature. And actually, she's more of a leader. It says in the show, she's like this leader person that she helps everybody. And she's a great helper, and somehow she is really comfortable and gets easily comfortable with stuff in the situation she is. Gangle is the most sensitive. Well, Gangle has problems controlling her emotions, but later gets help from Zubul. And that's basically what she is. Zubul is rude and suffers from identity crisis a bit. And she also can be a bit kind. Kinger, on the other hand, is insane. But as we know, in the dark, he's a very wise and sane person. Ragatha, on the other hand, is caring and worries a lot about the cast. So you can see in episode 6, she worries a lot about everybody, how they are doing and stuff. And then Kinger, because he's dark, comforts Ragatha. Jax is the most sarcastic, a bit cynical, the most femboyish, and most traumatized. This is really important to the Digital Circus plot, as it will lead to something horrible in episode 9, but I'm not going to tell you, it's spoil free. Well, Jax is most sarcastic in the beginning episodes, and also he's a bit cynical and rude. But in episode 5, he's kind of like a femboy. He has this like femboyish personality a bit, and many people have theories he must be trans. I kind of agree with that theories. It kind of makes sense. But traumatized, he has a lot of trauma that makes him almost abstract in episode 7. Now for Don't Hug Me, I Am Scared. Now, Yellow Guy, he is the most childish and anxious. There are many examples when he's childish. Basically, he cannot do anything basic, and he's the most dumbest and more really childish of all. He doesn't have much knowledge, and mostly relies on the other people to do his stuff for him. And he's also the most anxious. Red Guy. Red Guy is the most mature, sarcastic, and smartest. And in many situations, Red Guy is actually the smartest of all the cast, and more mature. As there are many times that he's really mature and doesn't really care about it. He's pretty pessimistic about the adventures that's happening. He doesn't really care, kind of like Zubul. Duck, on the other hand, is the most arrogant, rude, and sass. Duck is most misunderstood character because he's the most sassiest character and the most arrogant. Well, the Duck is arrogant. Usually Duck is really self-indulged. He doesn't really care about anybody. And he's really sassy too. Now that we know all about the main characters of the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared and Digital Circus, let's see which characters are the most similar. Pomni. Pomni is the most similar with Yellow Guy, which is kind of weird because obviously Pomni's more mature, kind of like Red Guy, but in a less cynical way than Red Guy. Well, Pomni and Red Yellow Guy hold this connection of anxiety issues they both have. For Gangle, she is extremely sensitive. I only have a connection from anybody from Gangle, so just cross that out. Zubul, rude and identity crisis. Also, she is the most identified to Red Guy. They both show an unpleasantry to adventures or something to do in their universe. Kinger is the most insane and most wise. doesn't really connect to anybody. Maybe a little bit to Red Guy, but not really. Ragatha is the most caring and worries a lot about everybody. Well, nobody really cares about each other in this world, so yeah, cross out. Also cross out here. Jax, most sarcastic, cynical, and fanboyish. There's no really a fanboy in the universe, so there's, Jax has connection kind of to Red Guy and both Duck. Because Jax is also pretty self-indulged. So that's the connections. Now let's continue to the next one. Let's see if the plot is similar. Okay, well, let's compare all the episodes. Since they're like two versions of the Home and Scared, we're gonna do it simultaneously like that, so we can see what's connected. For Digital Circus episode 1, Pomni is the new member. And also in episode 1, they go on Pomni goes on her first house adventure. Also in the adventure, we see Pomni go a bit insane, and these are the keywords for episode 1. Episode 2 of the Little Circus. Kane decided to give an adventure for everybody in the circus, which is the Candy Charioteers. Put candy. And throughout the place, we have the cast are supposed to get the syrup from the Syrup Bandits, which is Gummy Goo in this gang. So I'm gonna put syrup. Weirdly enough, the gummy gators attacked the other people with their car, and because of that, some of the cast got stranded from each other. Pomni ended up with Gummy Goo. So Pomni and Gummy Goo are important in this episode. We realize that Pomni is also a very nice person, which affects her personality. In episode 3 of the Digital Circus, Kane told the cast to go to this manor adventure that he made. And also Jax, since jerk he is, threw Gingle's mess at one of the doors, because there were like 2 doors in there. And of course, in the plot, Kinger was very important. You know why? Because Kinger and Pomni went there to retrieve Gingle's mask, and Pomni literally learned that Kinger is sane in the dark, which is extremely important to the plot, and affects episode 8 as you know it. In episode 4, it was nobody likes Kane's adventure, so he went to the suggestion box. And one of the things in the suggestion box was a Spudsies, a fast food restaurant, basically McDonald's. So, and during that time, Gangle was the manager because it was Gingle's adventure. And Gangle was and also that episode, Zubul fixed Gingle's mask, and that literally is a big part of Zubul's and Gingle's relationship. But due to that, also Gangle went insane during that episode. In episode 5 of the Amazing Little Circus, it was nobody wants to go to Kane's adventure, so he decided to do a fast speed adventure. The first fast speed adventure was Jack's hunting spree. The next one was Pomni being president. So put president. The next one was the anime one, which is like Gangle chose that. Then it was the stargazing. Then it was the bar. Then lastly, it was the baseball, where our favorite scene of Jackson the May dress was in. There was a lot of things in between the episodes, but I'm not going to say what I'm always as fast as possible. In episode 6, it was the gun adventure. And in that episode, Pomni and Jax had friendship in that episode. Then the friendship broke.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
In episode 7, it was the beach episode. Halfly. Then came the secret adventure, which was escape the circus. Then in episode 8, actually episode 7, they realized that it was all a trap, and Kane could read their minds. In episode 8, they rebel, get angry. They realize that Cain is going insane himself, so they try to control Cain. And Kinker was a very major impact in this episode because he made Cain die. Now let's go to Don't Hold Me, I'm Scared. For Don't Hold Me, I'm Scared, the web series, the whole episode is about creativity. For the show, it was the job episode. And also in that episode, the red guy was the manager. No, I think the boss. And Duck was in the peak of insanity. Episode 2, it was the time episode for the web series. This is really short, it's all about time, it's interesting happens. In episode 2, it was the death episode, where Duck was being due as death and went to the coffin. And then his friends tried to replace him and got really sad, but he came back. And for episode 3 of the web series, it was the love episode. So basically in the episode, red guy, yellow guy saw a butterfly, and then Duck said it was a bee, and then yellow got sad because it died, and then he learned about love. Then in the end, red guy decided to give him the last boiled egg, but secretly it was just a weird monster, but it didn't make sense. In episode 3 of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, in the web TV show, is about family. And this family was really cursed from these two weird twins. Let me draw the twins. Yeah. These twins are really weird, have a weird family. In the end, a red guy finds his family, but the family doesn't like him much, so it's pretty sad. And they took red guy's blood. In the end, some weird ceremony happened with yellow guy, where he became the mom. But luckily, Roy's dad saved him in the most weirdest way, which is basically he killed the whole weird family, which is, I guess that's great, you know. In episode 4 of the web series, Computer. And basically, there's this computer who was telling them about the internet. I think it was the internet episode. Yeah, that was called the internet episode. That's what computer, but basically it was all about the computer. The episode, basically, they learned about the internet, and you know, the most iconic thing Don't Hug Me, in my opinion, was happening, which was basically digital dancing. I don't know, I like the episode. And episode 4 of the show, it was the Friends episode. So in that episode, yellow guy, red guy, and Duck were having a friendship problem. See, because there was computer time, and the guy did not know the password, and they got angry at him. And then this guy, who was like the eagle, was literally, he called himself the eagle, but in reality he's just a worm, came there and decided to tell them about friendship because they were not good friends. But the story is that he told a story about a lost friend, which was basically about him, which is kind of weird, sad. And basically, he told lessons to yellow guy, and weirdly enough, because of that, and also something bad happened again to these friends. Basically, the episode, yellow guy and his 3 friends, red guy, that's yellow guy, and Duck, were having computer day. And basically, yellow guy did not know the password, and they had a giant argument, and the weird worm guy came, and he said he was a retired friendship patrol, and just says, somebody isn't having good friendship, and basically taught them about being good friends. But of course, he was pretty weird, so they kind of ignored him. And then they had a giant argument, and he was saying something really horrible to yellow guy, which made him cut off his brain. into this weird state of depression, I think. Where he was like his mind friends, and the worm warned them about the weird thing of imaginary friends. So basically he's saying with his weird friends in his brain. And his other friends who probably meant that but didn't really meant to, try to save Yellow Guy from this weird trance, and even went to the internet to search up a doctor to help him, but the doctor's not even useful. And then slowly and surely they realized the problem was the worm in his brain. So basically they saw and removed the worm. In the end of the day, the friendship did not get solved and ended up in a giant argument again. Yeah, that was not a great episode. Episode 5 in the new series was the meat episode. So basically, after that, in episode 4, Red Guy left everybody. I know, probably he was like really angry at his friends because he doesn't want to hang out with Yellow Guy because probably he thinks he's dumb and something like that. So basically, Yellow Guy was chilling all by himself. And then there was these meat guys who told him about meat and being good. But in reality, they forced him to eat his friend, Duck. And he died. That's basically the whole plot. In episode 5 of the TV show, however, was the transport episode. So in episode 6 of Do Not Hug Me, I'm Scared, Yellow Guy was his bed, regretting everything. And then this weird lamppost said, talking about dreams and drove him insane. And meanwhile that happened, Red Guy was at his new job. But he didn't like it because he missed the place how it used to be because of the nursery rhymes and stuff. You know, the circles. And he started to sing and everybody thought he was weird. Then Red Guy went to a weird place up the stairs and realized that he was up in Yellow Guy's brain. He realized he could control parts of his brain, weirdly enough, how he felt, and control all the teachers that appeared. And then he saw the father of Red Guy, Yellow Guy, Roy. And then Red Guy saw a plug and pulled the plug, and the whole show restarted. In episode 6 of The Home Scare, the TV show, it was an electricity episode. So basically, there was an electricity bill, and nobody really cared about the electricity bill. And so this weird electricity person came out of the outlet. They were singing about electricity. But meanwhile, what happened. The two people, who was two friends, Duck and Red Guy, because his friend was very dumb, which was Yellow Guy. And when the song ended, they asked about the batteries, asked about how the electricity outlet is having electricity. And the outlet said it's because of batteries. So basically, his friends took the batteries and placed it on Yellow Guy. And because of that, Yellow Guy became very smart. And they put Yellow Guy's old batteries to the energy outlet. And the outlet became very dumb and stupid. Then all of a sudden, he became extremely smart. And the Yellow Guy became very self-aware of what was happening. And went up to these rooms upstairs. And saw those many versions of his friends. And then there was this room. It was probably the last. And there were like about 3 rooms, I think. Or there were 4 actually. And they met this weird woman named Leslie. And Leslie was controlling everything of what was happening. But Leslie gave Yellow Guy a book. In the end, the electricity outlet stole the batteries from Yellow Guy. So became dumb and decided to put it in Duck's shredder. So you shred the book, and that's basically how it ended. Okay, I'll start with Digital Circus. This is episode 1. This is episode 1 of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. As you see, there's nothing related to any episodes, and they're not related, so I'll put a little clause. This is episode 2 of the Digital Circus. And the candy characters have nothing to do with the second episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. The first, and I'll put a little cross on both of them. This episode 3 is a manor. It has nothing to do with the third episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, so put a cross on it. Episode 4 is a Spuzzy's restaurant, but really has something to do with a job episode, which is like the first episode of the TV show. But it's nothing to do with the fourth episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared of the show. Episode 5 of the Digital Circus has nothing to do with both Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared episodes, so cross. Not even a single bit represents any of these episodes. Now I'll have to do different adventures. Now episode 6. It has nothing to do with the dream episode, which is the 6th episode, or electricity at all. Now let's go to the beach episode. Let's compare to the episodes. The beach episode has something to do with Jack's abstraction, which is how, if you don't know, episode 7, Jack's abstracting. I forgot to put that. So Jack's abstracting episode 7, which actually connects to the family episode. Really, it does. There's a scene where Red Guy experiences hallucinations similar to Jax's. In episode 8 of the Amazing Digital Circus, as you see, there's nothing to do with the final episode of the web series, and it does match because Red Guy has to pull a plug in the dream episode. But really now, it has nothing to do with the electricity episode in the web series. So basically, these are the connections. So let me tell you something. I forgot about episode 9 of the Digital Circus. But I'm not going to tell you because it's spoiling. And there's something in episode 9 that actually connects to these episodes of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. But I'm not going to spoil it to everybody because I'll be mean. Really mean. So try to guess which episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared connects to the Amazing Digital Circus episode 9. We have seen the similarities of Digital Circus and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared in themes, the similarities of Digital Circus and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared in characters, the similarities of Digital Circus and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, and even in plot. And we did that. Now we can solve the question: is the Amazing Digital Circus related to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, or is it just clickbait? Let's find out. The answer is not really. Let's first distinguish it and exemplify the answer with characters. First of all, Pomni and Yellow Guy are not similar to each other at all. The only thing that makes them similar is anxiety. They're both anxious. Pomni is way more mature than Yellow Guy, as we can see. For example, Jax literally steals personality of both Duck and Red Guy. And also, the characters in Digital Circus mostly support each other, as you can see. It's even more simplified in the finale, as they help each other. And Jill and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, they're mostly just trying to survive and don't really care about each other. There's some scenes, you can argue there's some scenes in Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, shows them caring for each other, but it's not really. First of all, the characters in TC are humans And Demis, it's just nothing. They're just puppets in a weird system. There's nothing human to it, so it doesn't really matter if they escape or no escape. Let's attack Theme now. For Theme, even if they're both psychological horrors. Or even surreal, because that's basically they're both genres. They're both, this TC is realistic. Dullness is more surreal, and it's like focusing in realistic. Because the clock cannot talk. Love cannot speak and tell them about love, and a train cannot tell people about transport. In plot, they're extremely non-similar. As you can see, Don't I'm Scared is mostly just singing, cursed lessons. Like, they're all cursed lessons. But in reality, there's not really a plot, as you can see. You know, they're just going to adventures, nothing happens. And Little Circus is the opposite. There's actually a plot that's going on because it's a character-driven show. Dolomus is kind of similar to German too, which is kind of weird. But it's mostly just like things go on. Nobody dies, nothing happens. There's no real consequences in the Little Circus. And Don't Help Me I'm Scared, I mean. That is why Little Circus and Don't Help Me I'm Scared are not really connected. Maybe a little bit, but not really. Now you can surprise your friends and tell them that Don't Help Me I'm Scared and Little Circus are not really connected. And make sure to show this video to everybody, and goodbye.
Wow.